Have you ever had a passage that no matter how much you practice it, once you attempt to play it, your hands just seem to get confused all the time? You know exactly which notes to play, but every time you get to a certain spot, your fingers simply stop cooperating and get stuck. Today I want to show you why that happens and, more importantly, how to fix it. This video isn't only for intermediate or advanced players. The approach and method I'm going to show you can be applied to any level or piece. Let's get started. And the specific passage I chose for this video, because I'm having trouble with it while learning the piece, is this one. At first glance, this particular passage is pretty straightforward if we look at the sheet music. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it's quite straightforward. Compared to other passages in this piece, you can't see any real changes in pattern, plus there are no jumps or leaps or anything like that. Let's look at the beginning of the piece for a second. It's really difficult, but the challenges are constantly changing. For example, the opening. You have this jump that is already quite difficult, and you have to switch from this to actually having the first pattern of the piece. Then, when you reach bar 2, you experience a change of pattern. So we had this pattern, then you have this pattern in bar 2. Bar 3 immediately comes with a different pattern, and then another one. So every few bars here, you're presented with a different problem to solve. And here, in our passage for today, it's just a simple pattern that keeps on going. But that's exactly what makes this passage so difficult. Have you noticed that there are passages that keep repeating for just a little too long? Just enough for your hands to get confused, get tangled, and trip. That's exactly what I'm experiencing here in this passage. It's surprisingly easy to get confused. You know what it feels like to have a blackout? You don't know the notes anymore. Well, here I'm experiencing a sort of a physical blackout. At some point, my hands really don't know what's going on. Now, this is interesting. Here is where most people approach these sort of problems the wrong way. And to be honest with you, sometimes I am really tempted to approach it the wrong way. More repetitions, just repeat like crazy with the hope that it gets better. Put on the metronome, hopefully that solves the problem. Separate the hands, go as slow as possible, etc. Great fundamentals, right? But sometimes even those fundamentals can solve a problem, and that can be very, very frustrating. Now, when that happens and you can't seem to solve the problem with all the ways you know how to practice, it's time to become a little bit more analytical and try to figure out why do we have the problem we have. Knowing why will be the secret, because then we can find and invent an exercise that targets and solves the problem directly instead of relying on countless repetitions. So let's get started and see what we're going to do today. So the first thing we gotta do today is to diagnose the problem. By the way, I wanted to tell you that mistakes only feel frustrating when they seem random. Once you realize that there is a reason behind almost every mistake, practice becomes much more enjoyable, because now you're solving puzzles instead of repeating passages endlessly and hoping they'll improve. That's the philosophy behind our course, The Mistake-Proof Pianist, and we use it every single day as concert pianists. The link to the course will be below the video, and it's suitable for many different levels. Let's diagnose the problem. All diagnostics start with fingering. We need to see if our fingering is natural and it doesn't block anything while we are playing. Let's do that hands separate so we don't miss anything. First, I'll start with the left hand. So 2-1-3-1 seems to be a brilliant fingering. There's an option I can think of which is only 2-1-2-1. But the jumps, I can already feel that wouldn't be possible in a fast tempo. So I think that this is brilliant fingering. We keep it at that. Then we're going to check the right hand, and I'm going to use the fingering that we have there in the score. You can also think of, like I have in the lower voice, I have 2-1, 2-2-3-1-3, 2-3-1-3. And I can think of 2-3-1-2. But that doesn't work. No. 1-3-1-3. 1, 2, 1, 2, ridiculous fingering. So what I have at the moment, it's pretty perfect. So we check that and we know that fingering isn't the problem. The next thing we have to ask ourselves is which hand of the two is struggling more. Now we can try to play this together, but that wouldn't answer our question because we wouldn't know really. Yeah, at some point maybe we find that out, but we can speed up the process by simply separating the hands and playing a couple of times the passage and just see, is there a hand that's struggling more than the other? So let's start with the left hand. I don't feel anything strange in the left hand. Now let's try the right hand. You can see already that it's uneven. I can feel that it's immediately more uncomfortable. Quite clear. Right hand immediately seem to be feeling more awkward than the left hand, which already points us in a certain direction. The next question we have to ask ourselves is, what's the location of the problem? We could say the passage is difficult, but that isn't going to solve it because we need to be even more analytical and zoom in even more. I want to really know where exactly the problem is. Now, what I would recommend here is that you do this in your performance tempo. My performance tempo, I found out, is approximately now 113, which is this. I'm going to do it with the metronome, so I'm close to or approximately at the speed I'm playing at the moment as performance speed, because that's going to give me even clearer answers. Let's try. Okay. Okay, that's quite clear. So what I'm noticing is that in the second bar, between beats 2 and 3, between this, I'm feeling the most awkward. Still in the passage, I feel kind of uncomfortable from time to time, but this is a place where I notice that I really feel uncomfortable. The next very interesting thing is to find the cause of the problem. So I've already noticed that it's the right hand struggling more. It feels a bit awkward. I found the connection between beat 2 and 3 in the second bar. Now I want to be even more specific and see, could I spot the reason for that problem? Now what I'm noticing in this passage generally are shifts, awkward shifts from time to time. I don't know, probably you can see on the camera above. Here, here, and here. Now, if I observe what's going on in the score, and probably you can observe with me, you'll notice that from time to time we have an F sharp. Everything is white keys, look at that. F sharp, exactly when I feel uncomfortable. F sharp again. White keys, F sharp. Now, when I'm playing, I'll play this without talking, and you can observe what the hand does every time. You'll notice how the hand has to shift every time I play F sharp. That's already getting quite specific. I feel that I'm getting closer and closer to finding out what the real problem is. Now we're going to do a little trick here. Why don't we double check and kind of confirm and reconfirm if the F sharp is the problem? What we can do is remove that F sharp, ignore what's in the score, remove the F sharp, and play the passage that way. You see how much easier it goes. It's crazy. Now add the F sharp. It's so obvious. That tells us that 99% the problem revolves around the shifting of position around the F sharp. So now this is getting really interesting. It's time that we find the right exercise. And this exercise has to revolve all around positioning of the hand. So now, instead of playing the notes as they are, we need to think of an exercise that teaches the hand the positions of this particular passage really well. One of the best things to do in this case is to see, could we group those separate notes? As you see, we have groups of 4 notes, then 4 notes again. Could we group those separate notes into a chord, into a group of notes that are played simultaneously? Like, for example, I check which the notes are, so we have this. So they can be grouped into chords. Now, what I do here, which is really important, I'd get rid of the metronome for now and start getting familiar with these positions. Really calmly, really focused, relaxed. Make sure that you learn all the different positions. That's going to be the start of the exercise, and I wouldn't focus at all on speed here. The second exercise we're going to do is where speed comes into play, because we want to move our way toward performing, right? And I'd call this exercise alternating. I'll explain what it is. Now, instead of playing everything in blocks, in chords, we're going to play every beat in a different way. So, for example, the first beat is going to be played normally. Second beat is going to be played in block as a chord. Third beat normally, then block, and then. Now what we are doing with this exercise is we are teaching the hand to play normally, because at the end that's what we're supposed to do, but we're also teaching the hand to react really quickly between playing normally and finding the right positions. So kind of the hand is already ready to play later on normally also the second beat, and then the third and the fourth beat, etc. Now, as I said, we need some speed here because I want to really prepare myself for performing the piece later. We need to start working on our reaction. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to and try this exercise at my performance tempo, which was approximately 113. And I'm going to show you exactly what I have to do. So this is 113. I want every beat to be played with a tick of the metronome. So the exercise is going to look like this. Let me do it again. Oh, that's a mistake. As you see now, every beat is together with a tick of the metronome, but I'm alternating between playing normally and playing chords. Now, make sure that you master this version of the exercise before you move to the next step that I'm going to show you now. It's really important every step to be done properly, of course. This second step is going to be called mirroring. So instead of starting with 4 notes that are played normally, we are going to start with a group played as a chord. Second beat is going to be played this time normally. And that's going to sound like this. You see that doesn't go well, so I have to work on it. That's actually more difficult because of the shifts in position. Again, let's do it again. Make sure you try to do this also at your performance tempo, because then really you'll get as close to the final result as possible. One little note, when I say performance tempo, I would choose a tempo where you still can play normally without being sloppy and full of mistakes. Because if you're doubting, if you're making mistakes, and if things are going wrong, there's no point of this exercise. It's never going to work. And our little secret, for those of you who are ambitious and who get this exercise and do it really properly, you've noticed that I'm showing you just the right hand. But what I'm going to do personally when I practice is, of course, I'm going to add the left hand to that. I just didn't want to do it till now because it's quite challenging, of course. And then what the exercise is going to look like is... or... My advice for you is always ask yourself, whenever you practice and you make mistakes, why am I making a mistake? Because then you can apply all the tools, all the knowledge you have, you can apply it to solving the problem directly without wasting your time. That's all. I really enjoyed giving you these tips that I use myself, and I know how much you will benefit from them. Thanks for watching and see you next time.